Hi, Moonhackers. Welcome to our code along today for Lunar Laughs. This year, Moonhack is turning 10. It is our 10th birthday of creating fun coding projects for a challenge for kids all around the world. So glad you've come to join in today. Something special about this project is that it is created in steps. And if you're a new Scratch user, you might finish your project at step 1 and be happy. And then if you want to try something a little bit more, you're going to complete step 2 and so on. So at some stage, you might go, yep, I'm done. I'm no more. Don't need to watch the rest of this code along. Or you might come through to the very end with me. Whatever you do, I can't wait to see your finished project. Let's jump into the starter. So when you've clicked on your hyperlink to the starter or you've downloaded the project, this is the screen that you're going to see. Because I'm logged into my online account today, I'm going to click on the remix button, but everyone else is just going to click on see inside to jump into the project. In our project today, I can see that there are 4 different sprites on my screen that we might be engaging with. And it looks like we are going to be in for some jokes if I think about the idea behind the project. So with our jokes today, you can use the ones that are in the project itself, or you might choose to personalize it and add in your own jokes. Let's get started. So we are going to first start with our Raindrop sprite. We are going to start our project, like most of the ones we do, with a green flag clicked event. So our user is going to click the green flag to start our project. When we have this happen, we do want to set the position for our Raindrop sprite. So let's grab a motion blocker go to and make sure it's going to click into position and stay there. Now in this project, I am choosing to use the text to speech blocks. This is where I'm going to type in some text, but in Scratch, we're going to hear it as a voice. You don't have to choose this option. You could choose to use the looks blocks and just have text that a person could read, or you could choose to use the sound blocks and record your own voice. If you're going to do text to speech like me, we need to add these blocks in. So I'm going to go down my bottom corner here and click on the extension blocks. And I'm going to choose the one that is text to speech up here in the top corner. So this is going to add a few blocks in that are going to help me out today. We want the user to actually click the raindrop to get a joke. So let's start with the event when this sprite is clicked. When this sprite is clicked. Fantastic. So from my text to speech blocks, I'm going to first set the voice. So you can choose from the drop down menu. Remember that your user does need to be able to understand what they're hearing. So let's make sure we choose one that's going to make a bit of sense. I'm just going to stick with, the tenor voice. So if the sprite is clicked, I want my first joke to be said. So I'm going to grab across a speak block. And in here, I'm going to type my first joke. What did the moon say to Saturn? Or question mark. And then I want the answer to be told. So I'll grab another speak block. And the moon said, give me a ring sometime. To add a little bit extra to this joke, I'm going to add in a sound. So I'm going to drag across a play sound until done, but at the moment there are no sounds to choose from and we need to add some in. Click on your sounds tab up the top here. These are the sounds that become attached to this sprite and choose a sound. I'm actually going to choose a sound that is a telephone ringing. 2 I could choose from. I'm going to choose this first one. Okay, so I've got my sound added in here. It's called telephone ring. If I now go back to my coding tab, I will see that here and I can add that in. So we've got one joke, but I want my raindrop to have 5 jokes. So this is a great time to either pause the video and go and use the instruction sheets to go and type them all in, or you can continue to follow along with me. So each process, I am going to, again, have a question, an answer, and a sound. So I'm actually going to use my duplicate function by using the right mouse key. And I'm going to add that underneath, and then I can just change. Let me click stop.
Give me a ring sometime.
I'm going to change what is inside. My next joke. Why does no one trust the man in the moon? Let me shrink this down a little bit so we can see properly. And the answer is because he has a dark side. So a phone ringing is not going to match this one. I'm going to go back to my sounds menu and I'm going to add another sound. I'm going to see if I can add someone laughing at this joke. Yeah, that's probably a good one. It wasn't that great a joke. If I go back to my code tab, I can now select the laugh. Okay. We are up to our third joke. So again, I'm going to duplicate my 3 blocks of code that are going to tell
What did the moon say to Saturn?
Jokes. My next joke is, which way did the cow take over the moon? And the answer is the Milky Way. Again, we want a sound. I'll go back to my sounds tab and I'm going to add another sound. This time, I want a bit of a sound of something flying by. So I'll do the space flyby sound. And I will select that one. I'm going to duplicate again for my 4th joke. I've got, how does the moon hold up its trousers? And the answer is with an asteroid belt. All right, time to add in another sound from our sounds tab. This time I'm going to select the slide whistle. And again, these sounds you can personalize for yourself. You don't have to do the same as me or the same as what's in the project. Completely your choice.
What did the moon say to
duplication of the blocks to tell our final joke. Can an Australian with poor vision see the moon? This one's a bit of a play on words, but we're going to have a g'day, mate, as in a g'day, mate. Okay, I might do another laugh with this one. Let's add in another sound. What laugh will I choose this time? Oh, any of those would be great. Let's choose one and add it in. Go back to my code and select my final sound. So here we have completed step 1 of the project. If we click the green flag, everything's in position. And when I click my raindrop, he will start telling us jokes.
What did the moon say to Saturn? Give me a ring sometime.
Step 1 is complete. So for those of us who are brand new to coding with Scratch, You finished your first project. Congratulations. If you are moving on to step 2 with me, we are about to begin. And if not, happy coding. Step 2 is all about adding some movement on the screen to get things a bit more interesting, because at the moment, he's just telling us jokes. To be able to add these new elements in, we're actually going to insert them in certain parts within the code that we've already created. Let's go up to the very beginning part of our code and our first joke. So we've got the joke, what did the moon say to Saturn? Give me a ring sometime. And we've got the telephone ringing. I'm going to add in a broadcast function, and I'm going to pop it in between the answer and the sound. This broadcast is like sending a radio signal, and all of the sprites receive this radio signal. And using our code, we can tell it to respond and to follow its own code when it gets this signal, or it just doesn't do anything at all. So instead of message 1, we're going to create a new message, and this message we are going to call Saturn. We want to link what is happening to the joke about Saturn. So giving it a good name really helps us remember what it's there for. We are going to link the planet sprite to this joke. So let's click on the planet sprite. Now it is only going to have some action when it receives that broadcast. So let's start with the event when I receive Saturn. We're going to get the planet to do like a little giggle, like it's the actual one that's laughing along. Well, to do that, we're going to start with a loop with the repeat. It's going to repeat 10 times. So in this one, if you imagine our sprite is sitting flat, we want it to wiggle one way, wiggle all the way back, and then get to its starting position. And then it's going to repeat that 10 times. Let's grab the turn right degrees block, and it's going to turn 15 degrees. That's perfect for us. Once it gets there, we're going to ask it to wait a little bit. If we don't ask it to wait, that whole movement will happen so quick, it looks like it's actually standing still. So let's get it to wait 0.2 seconds. So that's our first tilt. Now we want it to go all the way to the other side. So go back to your motion menu, get the turn left degrees button, and we're going to double it. We want to go back to the starting position and then the other way, so 30 degrees. It is then going to have that small wait time again, 0.2 seconds, and then that rock motion back to its starting position. So if I was to click just this one, we can see our Saturn giving a lovely little wiggle. To ensure that it starts in the correct position, we're just going to add in when the green flag is clicked, and we're going to point in direction 90, just ensuring that it starts the exact way that we want it to. If I go back to our Raindrop sprite, that is our first joke, and it's all complete with some animation. Let's go through and animate the next joke about, let's do one about the Milky Way. Which way did the cow take over the moon? The Milky Way. Again, we're going to add in that broadcast. Let's drop it in between the answer Milky Way and the sound. We don't want the Saturn broadcast. We're going to make a new one, and we're going to call it Moon. Okay. So when the moon is telling its joke, we're actually going to get the rocket and we're going to get it to fly like it is going to go over the moon. Not quite a cow, but it's close. So let's click on the rocket sprite. For our rocket, when it receives the broadcast of moon, it's going to tell the rocket that it's time to begin. So we want that rocket, it's going to blast off take off, head off the screen. So I'm going to use a glide function. We're going to glide 1.5 seconds, not very long because there's not much time with the sound that's going to have happen. We want it to glide to X 180, so it keeps it going straight up. But Y, we're going to glide to 260, which will take it up and off the screen. Now, if we were to repeat it, our sprite would be off the screen. So we need to tell it to start on the screen. So let's do when a green flag is clicked, we're going to tell it to go to its current starting position of 180 minus 180. So if I click on when I receive moon, off goes our little rocket and the start will bring it back. I think now we could animate our satellite sprite. Let's go back to the raindrop because we want to link that satellite sprite to one of the jokes. And I think we might do the asteroid belt. Let's add in a new broadcast in between the answer of asteroid belt and the sound. We're going to create a new broadcast. I'm going to call it trousers. We've linked it in. We know what it's all talking about now. And let's jump over to the satellite sprite. So again, the satellite sprite, we're actually going to get it to wobble like Saturn. We can take a shortcut here. We can use the code that we had for the planet and copy it across to the satellite. So I'm on my planet sprite. I'm going to hold onto my code and I'm going to drop it onto the satellite, both of those sets of code. Now, if I go and click on my satellite, I can see that those both sets of code have been copied across. All I need to do, I don't want it to follow this code when it receives Saturn. I want it to follow it when it receives trousers. If you don't want to copy across, you are more than welcome to drag all of those blocks across and create your own from the start. So here, if I click on when I receive trousers, we've got our satellite laughing and giggling to the joke. That is the end of step 2. That means that we've got all the jokes being told by our raindrop, but we also have our other sprites reacting to those jokes. Now is the time that you can finish your project here, or you can continue with me onto step 3. This one, we're going to get into some more complex coding. What we're going to do here is randomize the way or the order that the jokes are told. If you were to leave the project as it is now and you played it a second or a third time, the jokes are told in the exact same order, but we can make them random. Let's drop back to our raindrop sprite, the holder of our code for all of the jokes. We're going to start, I'm just going to shrink mine so I can see more of it. We're going to start by wrapping all 5 jokes in a forever block. So let's jump over to control, grab forever, and I need to wrap them in that forever. Forever, they're going to refer back to those 5 jokes. We just need to be able to now tell it how to do that in a random way. I'm going to start a new algorithm with when the green flag is clicked. And what we're going to do is to use the list function. So the list function is found in your variables toolbar. We can make a variable, but we're actually this time going to make a list. So click on make a list, and this list, you're going to call it jokes. So you can see now I've got my list on the screen. Later on, we can hide that, but we're going to leave it here so that we can see what is happening with the blocks that we code. At the start, when the green flag is clicked, we want to delete the whole jokes row. So anything that may be left in there from the previous person using our project, we want to get rid of it and start fresh. To start fresh, we're going to add all 5 of the jokes into the list. And we do that by adding in this add button. And we're going to use our keywords that we've used so far. So we want Saturn. We're going to add Saturn into the jokes list. If I click on that now, you will see it add that into the list. So I need another one of these. Our second joke is all about the moon. So we're going to add in moon. I'm just going to duplicate my block. I find that easier. So the third one we add in is going to be dark. The fourth one we add in is going to be trousers. And the last one that we add in is going to be C. So when the green flag is clicked, they all get deleted if anything was left there. And our 5 jokes, we've added that into the list. Over on our main algorithm over here, we now want to add in a variable. So let's click make a variable. And the variable we are going to call joke. So our variable, we need to set it up from the beginning. So let's drag that across. We're going to set joke. We need a random operator here. It's going to pick a random. And from this, it can pick from number 1 anywhere up to, we're going to go back to our variables, and inside our list blocks, we're going to scroll down and we're going to select the one that is length of jokes. Now we could just leave it and put number 5 here, and that would randomly select one from the list. What that does though is that it assumes that there's only ever 5 in the list. If you added more jokes, it wouldn't recognize them. And a bit later on, when we delete from the list the joke that's been said, it wouldn't understand that it's less than that. So we're putting it as the length of, or picking from random number 1 to whatever the length of that list may be. Inside our forever joke, each of our jokes needs to be wrapped in its own branching block so that if that joke is selected, it follows the algorithm within it. From our control menu, we're going to grab the if then block. Now this gets a little bit tricky with how we do this. What I'm going to do is move my list out of the way. And to make this easier for me, I'm actually going to take everything outside of that forever block. First of all, I'm going to drop an if then inside that forever. What I want to put inside this branching block is any of the blocks that are to do with just the first joke. So in my code here, I'm going to detach the other joke. This first joke, I'm going to now drag and drop that inside that first branching block. So I need to now add some code into here to tell it when to follow this algorithm. And we're going to follow this algorithm if that joke is randomly selected from the list. We're going to set the conditions for this algorithm to play out. What we need it to recognize is if the number of the random joke selected is equal to Saturn, then this joke will play. So we start with an operator with the equal sign, and we're going to put Saturn in the end, so it's matching those up. From the variables, we're going to jump in. We need to select from the list menu, item of jokes, and we're going to put our variable joke into here. So if it selects Saturn, it is then going to go through and say our joke. Our Saturn's going to wiggle and we're going to hear that sound. When this joke has played, we now want it to remove it from that list because otherwise it could come back again and again and again. And we don't want to hear the same joke over and over. So from our list menu, we're going to drag across this delete one of jokes and drop it underneath the broadcast. Then further down, we've got item number of thing in jokes. Drag that in to replace the 1. From here, we're going to replace item number of thing, item number of Saturn in jokes of jokes. This will remove it from our list up the top. Once the sound has finished, we then are going to add in a stop all button. So we're going to stop anything else from happening in that. So let's test this out and see how we go. We're going to click there because it's not choosing the number.
Saturn. Give me a ring sometime.
You can see that Saturn was now deleted from there. So we've got our 4 remaining jokes, which could get played at random. So those steps that we've just gone through, we now need to go and do for all 4 other jokes. So now is the time that you can either continue along with me or you can skip the next chunk of the video and follow the instruction sheets. Our process, again, I am going to add another branching block in underneath the first branching block, but still sitting within that forever. For the next joke, I need the same kind of conditions created. So I'm going to duplicate that block just to make it easy on myself. And this time our joke is about the dark side, number 2 there. So instead of Saturn, I'm going to put dark. Now I can separate out. So I've just got that section of joke being added in. Why does no one trust the man in the moon? Because he has a dark side. We've had the joke, but I need it to delete that section or that joke from the list. So I'm going to jump back in. We're going to delete the joke. We're going to delete item number of the dark joke. Play a laugh, and then I want it to stop all. Let's add in our next branching statement underneath the last one. I'm going to duplicate that condition yet again. And my next joke is about which way did the cow take over the moon. So I'm going to do the moon from the list. Let's separate that joke and drop it inside our branching block. Move it up a bit. Okay, so this time, once again, we've got our broadcast this time. So we've got a sprite that is reacting. Remember, this is the one, the rocket taking up over and over. So let's go in. We are going to, once again, delete the item number of the moon in jokes, whatever it comes up as. It's going to broadcast. It's going to play the sound, and then we want it to stop all. We've got 2 more to go. Another branching statement underneath again. Duplicate those conditions yet again. Our joke this time was about the moon holding up his trousers. Trousers as our key word. Separate our joke.
In an Australian with poor vision, see the moon.
Once again, we need to delete that joke now from the list. Delete the item number of trousers. Broadcast trousers and play whistle. 1 more to go. I'm going to drag across my if then. Whoops, I forgot the stop all. Oh, that's important. I better add that in. Okay, let's recreate those conditions. This one's about the g'day, mate. We're going to add the word see that we had in. I'm going to add in the joke. And then we're going to make sure that it deletes. If this one is played, it deletes the item number of C in jokes. Okay. To really understand that deleting the number is important, we can't link it to a specific number because as soon as one's deleted, those numbers attached to the words change. So it's really important that we have that delete the item number of that word. Now, if you were to play that now, you will find that your jokes will play in random. The only other thing that we need to do now is to tell our Raindrop sprite what to do when all 5 jokes have been played, because somebody who's using your project would keep clicking on the raindrop, trying to expect something else to happen. They don't know that the jokes are finished. So let's add some code to the bottom of our algorithm that will give the player an idea that the jokes are all done. So let's add in one more if branching statement down the bottom here. This branching block is going to use the condition that sits around the length of the list. Let's go back and grab an operator that has the equal sign, and the 50 we're going to change to 0. So our condition is going to be from our list menu, when the length of jokes equals 0, and that will show down here. We might just get a bit of a message to come up on screen, and our message can say, "Thanks for listening to my jokes." Again, you don't have to use the same menu. You might record it yourself, or you might use a text-to-speech button. Completely up to you. Now, if I play from the beginning, I can see inside what's actually happening. I've got 5 jokes here.
An Australian with poor vision see the moon. A good day, mate.
See? Now it's gone. If I play the final joke,
What did the moon say to Saturn? Give me a ring sometime.
he's now got his message up the top because I've clicked again, but my length of the list is 0 and it's gone. Now, if you don't want these on screen, which I certainly don't, I'm going to right click on those and I'm going to hide them away so that they are not seen on the screen. And there we have our finished project. Well done, Moon Hackers. So, our completed project. I am really excited to see what you are going to do to change, adapt, and innovate on this project. Are you going to share your own jokes? Are there going to be more than 5 jokes? Are you going to change the animations? Perhaps the backgrounds change with each joke that comes along. There are so many ways that you could change and innovate on this project. You might completely change the theme of it and it's planet related, or maybe it's earth related. It can be of any topic of your choice. Perhaps there's lots more animation or experiences that go along when each of the jokes are told. I'm really excited to see your finished projects, and I do hope that you share them with your friends and family as well. Thank you for taking part in Moonhack in our 10th birthday celebrations. Please make sure that a trusted adult has registered you for taking part and that you receive your certificate as well. Happy coding, everyone!